Good evening. I'm Ronaldo Mackenzie, and welcome to another episode of the Neoliberalism podcast. Today, I want to share with you a pulse from the street. We said yesterday that we are doing a new segment called Street Vibe or Beats on the Street, where we engage people in the community and we have discussions about some of the issues we're here talking about: power and privilege and the dynamics of society, the challenges that they pose within society and how we can resolve them. But not everybody believes that these pose a challenge for society. Not everybody believes that inequality poses a challenge. Not everybody believes. Not everyone believes that inequality is a big problem. And I think we said yesterday that Fabrizio Eva had said that inequality is necessary. And I talked about the lumpen proletariat and so on. There are those who believe that poverty is necessary, that you need poor people in the world. You need people who are well, I mean, not that you need more people who are less than the other, but in a sense, there are those who are okay with the idea that income inequality exists in the world. So there is no need to talk about it. There is no need to respond to the issues. But who are these people? Now, today I actually was in Lakewood, and I picked up somebody. Can't remember the gentleman's name. He's Jewish. He's a business owner, and we were having an intense discussion. And you have to, I invite you to listen to the entire discussion today. This podcast is very fiery, or it's not disrespecting, not disrespectful, but it's very intense. And I am here engaging someone who lives in Lakewood, New Jersey, who is Jewish, who is a business owner, and who lives a particular lifestyle outside of, well, this person lives in the suburbs. And when you hear the perspective, it's quite interesting, because this person, this businessman, actually when we spoke, I was introducing my book to him. We were talking about neoliberalism, globalization, income inequality, poverty and resistance, and he said income inequality is necessary. Nothing is wrong with income inequality. Nothing is wrong with inequality. Nothing is wrong with it. Income inequality or inequality is okay. Nothing is wrong with income inequality or distributional inequality. Nothing is wrong with that. And I am going to be playing the exchanges with you. But if you were to compare that with the discussion I had yesterday with another random person, but this time it was Lisa, a woman, okay, who was not a businessman, but a businesswoman, but who works in the service sector, a black woman who has a high school education, and who shares a different perspective. Lisa who believes that income inequality, racism, poverty, these pose problems for society. Inequality should not exist. Race should not exist. Slavery should not have existed. That is her argument. That is her position. A black woman in Philadelphia, in the city of Philadelphia, and then you compare that with a businessman, a Jewish man, businessman, with college education, and his coming from has a different perspective or a different point of view. He believes that slavery was normal in society. It was the norm. Slavery was normal. The inequality, the issue of having races in society is normal. That won't get rid of the race, and race is not a pseudoscience, as I've been talking about. For him, it's not fake, it's not pseudo. Race is a reality. It is a concept in biology which is truth, which is true. We learn about Darwinism. Darwinism, we said, this is a theory. It's a theory of evolution, of how the world came to be. It's not necessarily accepted to be canon, in a sense, or the rule of thumb, or because not everybody accept that particular idea. There are some who are against, who don't believe in Darwinism, and there are those who believe in creationism. But that's how the world is. We have people have different perspectives. But the problem that we've always said is the privilege. And so I'm going to be sharing with you the conversation I had with this gentleman. And this particular segment, or this particular episode, is called Street Vibes, or Beats on the Street. And of course, today we are not in Philadelphia. We are in the suburbs of New Jersey, and we are engaging people and listening to what people say, and having discussions with them. And when you listen to the difference in terms of their perspectives, you can understand their realities. The realities, or the context, or the life that these people live. One commenter is a black woman in Philadelphia, in the city of Philadelphia, who has a problem with race and inequality and poverty and slavery, while another person who is Jewish in the suburbs of Lakewood, New Jersey, a businessman, educated, he believes that inequality is necessary, and it is a normal and natural part of society. Poverty is necessary, and privilege is okay. So we are going to talk about this in today's podcast. In fact, I'm going to be lifting up the discussion I had with the Jewish businessman in Jersey, and of course, early this morning, the previous podcast, about 1:00, I did a podcast, and yesterday I interviewed Lisa. I spoke with Lisa, and that is attached to that particular podcast. I think it's the second segment of the podcast that we did introducing Street Vibe. But we did an introduction, or a preface, or a preamble, which went way longer than I expected or wanted. And then after that, we have the interlude, and then we went into that particular segment. But what I will do for you here, I will save you the trouble of having to go to the previous episode and dig up all and play through the entire episode to find it. So I will play Lisa's comments for you, and then I will play the other gentleman's comment for you, so that you can have that, so that you can make the comparison, and you see how the difference in perspective. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
many other isms. Sexism. I mean, things like that. There's so many.
I actually wrote an article that says the world now has two more global challenges.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the world now has two more global challenges in addition to China and Russia. Sorry, in addition to racism,
Yeah.
sexism, classism, and so on. The world now has the issue of Russia and China, but all of that stems from the issue of power. That power,
Yeah.
and you know, so, and then people who are trying to maintain power or increase power or expand power,
Yeah.
they use tools or strategies.
Yeah.
Now, so classism, racism, all these are tools.
Tools, yeah.
So if a society is not based on race, then they use class.
Exactly.
If it's not based on class, then they pull for something else, sex
Exactly.
or gender.
Gender, yeah.
So you know, or if it's not based on that, then they use something else, denominational differences or religion.
That's
So
right.
I'm telling you, all these things can be utilized as strategies in the world, and that's why I said, you know, first of all, you said that somebody said, one of your bosses said that he doesn't believe in
Yeah, God. Yeah.
doesn't believe in God, and I said to you, you know, he is not that he doesn't believe in God, he doesn't believe what people, human ideas about God or what we have, what we
He said he
create.
used to go
Yeah.
to church with Mom. It's because he had a lot of brothers and sisters. They parents would tell them take him
Yes.
to church and all, but I don't know what did he have an event in his life that made him decide,
Yes.
oh, there's no God. You know, because some people can feel as though they have an incident that happens to them,
Yes.
and then that makes them say, well, if this happened, there can't be no God. You know,
Yes.
that kind of thing. You know, people can go through a lot of strife in their lives. So they think because they went through so much strife and turmoil that there's no God.
Yes.
Because if there were, he wouldn't allow it or he'd pull them about it.
Right. That is true. That is true.
But we all are going to have something,
Yes.
stress or something. We're all going through something.
Yeah.
That's just life. I tell my son that. Life throws you curveballs.
But you know
You can't
how,
avoid that.
you know, earlier I did a podcast and I was talking about how we are conditioned to think in categories. In fact, I think I go by a theme. My tagline is serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges, and I think the challenge we have in society is a challenge of life, because life is about people and how people relate, how people communicate. So the challenges in society is one of human dynamics and how we relate. And I was talking about, and so I often say, what is the ultimate of all things? The ultimate of all things is that we live as one with all of our individuality, with all of our differences, you know. And but the thing is, when we come together as people, that is powerful. That is the most powerful thing. But when we have a society where you are filling out application, they ask you, what is your race? What is your ethnicity? You know, they ask you all these things. I believe it is strategic. It is conditioning us.
Or they say that the government is keeping, what they call, not tabs, but I can't think of the word. Like they just want to get a feel, so they claim, well, how many blacks applied for this, or how many women applied for this, or how many disabled.
Well, I
people.
mean, to be honest, they said that it's also helped to determine how to dispense or to distribute services in communities. Say, for example, you know how many demographically, how many black persons live in a society, how many white persons live in a society, how many people, and so on and so forth. But that so that they can now distribute the services in society based on race. But
But I think if anything, that would help. They'd limit what they would do in the black communities, because I think a lot of them think, because some blacks are ignorant, not all, but they kind of think we all just don't care or don't deserve, and so we get tossed to the side.
Yes.
A lot of black people do care and do want to improve, want to do better.
Yes.
But we're more likely to be. White folks are more economically, politically, educationally, and everything, and socially advantaged than we are. So let's say you got 3/4 of black people that want to, let's say, this neighborhood and build it up, better it, make it more, have more economic impact. Their hands are tied behind their back because poverty. You know, when you poor, that's powerlessness.
Yes.
But you got 3/4 of it, but the other fourth is ignorant and uncouth and running around doing dumb stuff, and destroying the neighborhood.
Yes.
So to the outsiders, they think we're all like that.
Mm.
I mean, I can't think of 3 people, even if I had myself, if I had $100,000, let's go invest and do like this.
Yes.
We also don't have. It's just like, even if we came into money,
Yes.
we don't have the same connects that white people have.
Yes.
So it's different. You know, we need somebody to come and help us more. I wish somebody would come forth and try to educate us more.
Yes.
I say, if I can try to learn more about investing,
You know, knowledge is power.
I'll spread the word.
Knowledge is power, and
Knowledge is
power.
power.
And if you look throughout the history
Mhm.
of the world, man has sought to hide the truth
Yeah,
from, say for example, if you look at in religion, if you look at the church,
yeah.
the Bible was written in Latin,
Mhm.
was in Latin, and so only the papacy and the nobles and people who could read and write, and only a few people were able or were given the opportunity to read and write and to read and write Latin. And if people could read and write English, that didn't help them because the Bible was in Latin.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And when people were trying to translate the Bible now from Latin to something that is more understandable, to English, to a language that everybody could understand, there was a problem, because in fact the Bible was translated from Latin to French, and then from from Greek to Latin to French, and so on. But it was deliberate.
Yeah.
Even the slaves,
keep
they did not
people
want
out.
they didn't want slaves to learn to read and write.
No, because they had their own language. They didn't know, the slaves didn't know the land. They didn't know the language. They were helpless and powerless when they brought them over here.
So that is why when I see people in communities and people want to say, oh, I'm not interested in learning about the government. I don't want to know what. Oh, that's too much. They don't want to get involved in their government, in their politics, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
They don't understand this is also part of the strategy. They don't want
Bring me
people.
right in front of this and see what this
Yes.
truck is. Yep.
They don't want people to know anything,
Exactly.
because once people know, then it's power. They can,
Exactly.
and people, and as people, African Americans who are now able to read and write, who now have access, why is it that they wouldn't want to be more involved in what's
school
going
and
on in
things like
school
that?
and
Yeah.
academics and so on?
I say that too.
When
I
it's
say
part
that
of the,
you would
the
think,
pl-
if anything, like I tell people, blacks should want to strive even harder because of.
Yes, because it
You
was
should
part of the
really
plan
want
for us not to know everything, so that we wouldn't
because the
advance.
slaves didn't have a choice.
Precisely.
You didn't have a choice.
Yes, and this is quite interesting.
Yeah,
We will
you
have to.
a choice now.
Yes,
But your ancestors didn't, so I don't understand that either.
that is so true.
Yeah.
Perspective that you're giving it credit for.
Yes,
It's not.
Head south on River Avenue
It's
toward
more than a
Lakeview
perspective.
Place.
yes.
It's also a reality.
In 1,000
right,
feet,
right. Ooh.
turn.
If I wanted to join the NBA, I'm 5'8". If I wanted to join the NBA, I would have very very hard time doing that.
Yes.
One of the reasons is because my height. One of the reasons is I'm athletic, but I'm not as athletic as the guys that I was competing with.
Yes.
That's inequality right there. That's not
Well,
bad
yeah.
inequality.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but when we talk about income, that's one thing. When we're talking about differences in terms of biology, differences in terms of height, but if you look at the universe, or what they call it, oncology or ontology, or when you look at this, look at the world.
Make it right.
You know what I mean? It's the world has differences in. Now we create a sport. We create a sport. Society. We create the sport.
Make it right over here.
Right here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we create. Go right here. Right. Yeah. So we create the sport, basketball or whatever, and then in a sense, it's a functional issue. We created a function for that sport, and the function is to have. It's a competition that requires certain talent and skills. We make it in such a way that certain people who have certain height advantage can play the game. So it is still a creation of humanity.
No, we didn't create the game of basketball was created if you take a ball and you put it into a hoop.
Yes.
The idea of height only
Mhm.
became obvious after the sport became popular, right?
Yes.
Because people realized if someone's taller, it's much harder to guard them.
Yes.
It wasn't created. These limitations and these advantages weren't created by a human. They're just a reality.
No, what I'm saying is that no,
If someone's
sports
Yeah.
sports is a creation, and who developed the sports? Who developed the dynamics, the rules, the regulations, and who developed how the sport should look like and who should win and
No, they didn't.
Who-
Sports.
yeah, the
used to be
basketball as a sport.
It used to be mostly white players,
Right.
and now it's mostly black players, right?
Yes.
So originally it was developed like that, but that doesn't mean it wasn't developed for white or black players. It was developed just to play the game.
Right.
That just ended up happening because that's how the world evolved. They didn't create. We created. There's a lot of rules in the world
Yes.
that people create things that have to follow the rules. They don't have a choice.
No, but these are these are interpretations that people have.
What if you're taller? If you're taller, you have a better advantage?
But the sports is but you make a sports that fit a particular biological advantage. Because I couldn't create what if we decided to make to put the hoop lower? What if we decided to change the whole dynamics and dimensions of the sport and so on? So even within sports there is this competitive drive. So in a sense, yes, human beings have a competitive drive.
We do.
But we don't have to privilege. So I believe in competition, and I believe if we have healthy competition, but we don't have to privilege. But society now.
You can't get rid of privilege. You can't get rid.
No,
of
we
it.
can't because we're conditioned to think
I know people
privilege.
that are smarter than me. I know people that are dumber than me. That's not something that you can choose. That's something someone's born with.
No, that is
Automatic
not
privilege.
true. There is no such thing because you see, intellectualism is created. If you read,
No, not
have you ever read
intellectualism,
Gramsci? No, if you read Gramsci, even the idea of philosophy, and
No, not philosophy. These are the deep thinking. I'm talking about just general intelligence.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that no, there is no smart or dumb person in the world. We all have an advantage of technical thought,
We don't,
which
though.
balance each other out in a sense.
We don't though. There's people that have advantages with thought that are able to. They have a person, for example, is able to run a multi-billion-dollar company. They have the mind for it. They have the idea for it. There's one person who.
No, they don't have what they have. No,
There's one person
The-
who can become an artist.
no, but these are these. No, but the multi-billionaires are part of the problem. They are elites in society, and some of them have gained their wealth through cheating and strategy. Say, for example, let's look at slavery. Let's look at slavery. Slavery is a strategy born in a biology of race, which is race.
Wasn't a racist thing.
Race is a pseudoscience. You know that. Just as how the idea that says.
Not a pseudoscience, but
Yeah, race. No, because race was developed in the 16th and the 1700s, and it was on the back shelves. Nobody thought
what
this.
do you mean? If you
In other words,
if
the
you
concept.
go into the jails and you realize what race is when all the guys separate. Here, make a left over here.
No, we create the idea of race to
No.
suit our drive.
That's not, but it's a reality.
To be
though.
no, it's
Right?
not, no, it's reality. We make up our own reality. Nobody knows the reality of somebody else. We can only assume that reality.
but there's some
Descartes says, "Cogito ergo sum."
Certain people are born from a certain line of.
No, but that's a perspective.
No, that's the reality. though.
No. That is your reality. That's not mine.
Is your mother your mother?
My mother.
Is she your mother?
Okay, what's the point? What's the point?
And who's her mother?
Okay, I don't know. I've never met her mother.
Right,
I
but
met
She
yeah.
had a mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that person had a mother also.
Uh-huh.
And that person had a mother also.
Probably.
Had a father, and that person had a mother, and had a father.
And it depends on what you talk about mother. Are you talking about in the biological sense? Or are you
Well,
talking about
biological sense.
in a biological sense?
Yeah. So
Because
we're
no, because mother in one culture is different from mother in
I'm
another
talking about
culture.
biologically.
Biologically, okay.
There's a racial component to biology.
No, there is none. There was
There is.
race is an issue of skin. Human
there's
being.
people who have the same color skin.
No, race only was developed in the 1600s. There was no race. Race is a pseudoscience that is
There's
that
stuff
was
in the-
developed
in the-
to
the
drive
Bible.
No, the Bible is also based on human privilege. The Bible is not normative. You have Jews for Jesus and Jews not for Jesus, and they even Saint Augustine Confessions was discovered to be useful, so that the Christian faith, because back in the day they were competing for dominance.
No, there's.
The Christians were the Jews for Jesus and the Jews not for Jesus, and the Muslims in the first 100 years of Christianity and before, or 100 BC CE, they were competing for dominance. So they discovered theories that would make their faith exceptional. These are interpretive beliefs. We're looking at the foundation of religion. You're talking
We're
about.
talking about a philosophical level. I'm talking about a biological level.
No, but what is the philosophy of biology? But what it is that drives biology doesn't have a biology have a philosophy, a principle. Biology is governed by philosophy. Philosophy, you can't. What is biology without a theory? What is biology without an argument? Even in biology, which follows the law of logic and science, you start with an hypothesis, and you finish. You have
Right.
premise one, premise two.
It's much more stricter than actual philosophy.
No, but biology, there is.
Philosophy can be quite transient and can be quite loose.
No. Even biology, no, even in science, can I tell
Biology
you?
has to be tested.
Even in science, they don't know. They don't know the vast universe. They are still trying to this, and they are still
but-
learning and unlearning. So what I'm saying is that there is no such thing as race. Race is like a human conception. Before the 1600s, there was no such race. Our society was not based on race. Race was useful to provide the fuel to justify the need for people to want to base a society, to use slaves. So
slavery
race.
existed before the 1600s.
But slavery, not in this. Yes, and by the way, I wrote about that.
And
Thank you for telling me.
You know that in
Slavery,
the United States before there was black slaves, there was
but not
white slaves.
not slave trade. It wasn't a society based on race. It wasn't anybody
It
who.
wasn't- it-
No, but
it wasn't
anybody,
based on race.
anybody who haven't,
Slavery was-
anybody who say that our society had race before. I mean, they
What do
don't
you mean,
under.
our
They don't.
society?
No, wait. They don't under.
We lived in a
The
different
U.S. The
time.
U.S. or the America.
The U.S. lived in a
Yeah,
totally
but
different
slave
society.
was this kind of slavery practiced before the slave trade was not
There were
elaborate.
white slaves before there were black
Okay, yeah, but a whole set of people that they demean and treat as savage and livestock. Slaves were livestock. Slaves had no value. They had no lineage. They had no history. They were seen as people who were steeped in devilish religion. They were savages.
Okay.
That is the approach that they took. The slaves before then, they didn't create anything elaborate. It wasn't an elaborate scale. Okay, so slavery was the kind of slavery practiced before the slave trade. It wasn't on a large, and it wasn't demeaning.
It was international scale, of course.
It was not. It wasn't at the. No, trust me. It wasn't at the international scale before the slave trade.
You're talking about the Arabs going to Africa and selling slaves from there into an international market.
I mean, but that was the kind of slave trade where you have the guns and the spices and bringing a whole set of people and mixing them up like livestock and carrying them in chains in ships and killing them and throwing them over and treating them.
That happened before that too.
Where did this
In
happen?
the United States also.
Where? When? Where?
Slavery.
In the 1600s.
Before then also.
Wait. When was slavery? When in America?
Slavery has existed.
The America was discovered in 14, just around the same time Jamaica was discovered.
Slavery has existed. since
Yes,
the
but
world
it
started.
was not on the scale, and I just completed reading the archives about slaves, and when you look at the archives,
We're
the-
missing a lot of details. Then,
the
because
slaves-
Slavery was a vicious thing since the beginning.
slavery is always vicious.
Only till recently, in the past 100 or something years, 150 years.
Oh,
was-
I gotta go pick up this person.
Let me just finish the last sentence.
Yeah, I didn't.
Only to the last 150 years
This is good.
had we gotten rid of slavery as a normal thing. It's been a very normal thing.
It was not normal, and it was not normal, and race was not normal. And anyone who say that slavery was normal the kind of slavery that put slaves in race, because
It's not.
and then they had bond servants, but not the kind of slaves weren't treated as property. when the slaves from Africa were treated as property.
All slaves were treated as property, even since the Bible time. In the Bible, it
No, the
specifically
slaves
talks
weren't. If you
It
study
talks about indentured servants and how
okay, can I tell you? Do you study theology and Greek?
I understand some history.
Okay, you know what? I can. Then therefore, then you don't understand
But there's
wait,
one
no,
thing I
you do not.
there's one
No,
thing I
wait.
understand is slavery.
No, you do
I did.
not understand the concept of indentured servitude. You cannot compare indentured servitude with slavery and the slave trade. They are completely different things.
But slavery wasn't invented in the 1600s.
Excuse me, I said that the slave trade. I said the kind of slavery where you bring a whole set of people from Africa, demean them, put them in a race, and treat them as savages, and treat them as livestock, without any sense of individuality, without any sense of family. That is not the kind of slavery that the Bible, because slaves in the scriptures,
Even not in the Bible before that.
slavery in the
States had
scriptures,
slave trade.
slaves in the scriptures were not
Before that, the
had
United
family.
States what do you mean family?
They had a sense of family.
There was no sense of family. There was slavery before that in the United States.
I used to, I used to be a pastor. I'm a theologian. I know what I went to the Church of Scotland. I pastored thousands of people, and I've led several churches, and now I'm teaching philosophy and economics and history. So it is something that, and I'm constantly studying. You see me do Uber, but this is just a side gig. Okay, I used to be an executive in New York, working at a logistics firm, and I used to be an executive at TD Bank, TD Ameritrade. So I do this because it's part of my research, just so you know. I collect information from people.
What's it called? By TD Ameritrade?
TD Ameritrade.
Someone bought it. Charles Schwab. They bought it.
I didn't know. They were going down. I stopped working for them.
Yeah, they got bought out by Charles Schwab.
Oh, shit. But I wish I was recording this conversation. This was interesting. Oh, yes, I got some of it. Because this is the kind of exchange that is exciting for a podcast. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, man.
Well.
This was great. Yeah, man. This was good. This was great. Thank you for listening to those two takes or discussions that I recorded, and just not too long. One I recorded just now, and the other one with Lisa I recorded yesterday, and I'm quite sure it provides a particular perspective and a basis for us to look at now, for us to explore and to delve into. Now I have two podcast episodes that is already written and ready to go, but the discussions I had this evening with that gentleman, where he seems to be indicating that race is scientific, and he also indicated race is scientific, slavery is normal, and inequality is acceptable. Again, race is a science, slavery is normal, inequality is acceptable. And of course, you can compare that with what Lisa is saying, that race is definitely not scientific. So she's agreeing with me here. Inequality is unacceptable because she is black. Of course, she's black. That's a reality. And of course, the third thing is slavery is definitely not normal because she identifies with a past that comes from slavery, that has been through the dehumanizing goal on the dehumanizing experience of slavery. So it's quite something to look at as we begin to explore society and the dynamics. We as academics and scholars, they cannot be divorced from the opinions of the street, because even young people today, the young academics, the young scholars, the young students who are going to be, they are also engaging and interacting in the streets, and it is in the streets they formulate the pulse of society. And so I find it quite anthropological, driving around the East Coast, encountering people, engaging people, connecting with people, sharing, providing an opportunity for them to share their thought in an effort to understand them without being demeaning, because the Jewish gentleman felt strongly about his position. So do I. But I believe that we have a responsibility in the world to understand where each other is coming from, and to see and to help to engage people, so that we can all come with a common understanding, and in a sense we may find something that is interesting. We may find something that we can learn from about individuals, or about why certain positions haven't changed in society. Why is it taking so long? Or because there are some people in society, of course, those who benefit from privilege, benefit from there being a race, and so on, would want to believe that it is okay, that inequality is okay, that race is not a pseudoscience, but it's a scientific fact, and that income inequality or inequality is acceptable. When we drive around the city as we drive around towns and cities and places, engaging people, it's quite interesting, I tell you. This is one of the best ways to develop one's anthropology, or to practice one's anthropology, or one's social science, or one's research. If you are an academic today, you may want to consider, not just planting oneself in the classroom, but going beyond that, going in the community to hear what people are saying, and to gauge that with what you hear other persons have said and what people within academia are saying, and so on, and looking at how society is changing. Now, just so you know, so I am saying to you that and I had said earlier that I plan to do, I have two podcast episodes right now, which actually, as I thought about doing a podcast this evening, I wasn't sure what topic and I should, because as I said to you in episode 1 of season 2, we have a lot of content, and for some reason we are overflowing with content and a lot of ideas that we have for this show. It's just, and by the way, we are just getting a lot of ideas, and I have some major news for you. When we do our next podcast episode, I have major news for you, a major development here at the Neoliberal Corporation. We are growing. We are being noticed. We are, we are becoming relevant, and we like that. We want to be relevant. We want to be a meaningful contributor in society, and we have landed a very important partner, and we'll be talking about that and much more as we grow and develop. And don't remember about the book sign. Don't remember to come to the book signing on Saturday. And the book reading is at 12. The book signing is at 8 o'clock. right at the Germantown Expresso Bar, 26 Maplewood Mall, between Green and Germantown, between Green Street and Germantown Avenue, right on Maplewood Street. And you can enter either on Maplewood or the other side. You can. There's two entrances. So remember that. And also, I will be at Germantown Radio Station. I will be on the Germantown Radio Station on on Friday at 7 a.m. And I am looking forward to you guys tuning in at 92.9 on the FM dial. Thank you guys so much. The show will only get better. Oh, and there is one announcement I have. I have one announcement I have to share with you. So Philippe Bourgeois, who is a former professor of mine, released a post, and it's about something that is actually happening, and I'm actually trying to find the post, and I also tweeted, so let me see if I could find that on my Twitter page, Ronaldo Mackenzie. Here we go. It says that Philippe Bourgeois posted on Twitter, zoom into this great talk by Professor Randall Contrails, Wednesday, March 30th. See registration link. His ethnographic and theoretical analysis on racism, incarceration, and violence is brilliant and urgent. Again, his ethnographic and theoretical analysis on racism, incarceration, and violence is brilliant and urgent. Our intellectual community in social medicine will appreciate this talk by Professor Randall Contreras on Wednesday at 3 p.m. California time. And I'll be sharing this link as well. So if you're interested in this conversation, and we hope to be joining the discussions live here. Not live. I will join the discussion live, but I will also provide a recording. I will record the event, and I will interact at the event, and will make it available so that if you guys who are subscribers or listeners to this show can also get a sense of what's happening. So I will have that available for you. But thank you so much for listening to the Neoliberal Round podcast, and for tuning in to Street Vibe, our new segment. So today it was all about street vibe. But what we aim to do is that whenever we have a discussion or presentation, especially when it's more of a monologue or a presentation, as if it's a lecture, we will present a discussion, a rap session, or whether as a lecture or whether as a discussion group. But the plan is to present, to make a presentation, or to lead a discussion, and then at the end of that discussion, the next segment, we will have what is known as a discussion group, where several persons are participating in the discussions of some of the concept as well. So that's the plan in moving forward, but not necessarily tomorrow, but hopefully we plan to always engage society on a daily and weekly basis, and we will include that in our episodes. If the discussions and the rap sessions are longer than 10 minutes or 12 minutes, they will have to be standalone kind of a episode. If it's like 15-20 minutes, but if the discussions are shorter than 15 minutes or 14 minutes, let's say 10 minutes or 12 minutes, then no, we can include them as part of a wider presentation. That's the street vibe discussion segments that we have. Okay? So we are improving. We plan to get better. We hope to get on board content and more content editors. And if you are college students and you're wishing to intern with us, there are opportunities available for you to intern with us and to work with us. We have a very small corporation, a very small company, a very small staff, and contributors and so on, but we are growing significantly. And I want to remind you to reach out to us, access our resources that we have available so far. We do not have a material and a product page as yet where you can subscribe to some things, but you can, in the meantime, subscribe to for free neoliberal commentary, and you could also subscribe to our podcast episodes and to our news feeds. But we will have a bookstore available on our website where you can purchase our books and our material and self-help tools, and also access our self-publishing and editorial tools and platforms. Now you can interact with us, and you can also share your ideas with the world by sending us, by contacting us, by going to RonaldoCMcKenzie.com and going to the contact page, and you can complete the form and submit it to us, and we'll see it. If you want to participate in this program, please, you can give us a call at 445-221-3291. That's 445-221-3291. Or you can send us an email at the Neoliberal at RonaldoCMcKenzie.com. The Neoliberal, TheNeoliberal at RonaldoCMcKenzie.com. Thank you so much for listening to the Neoliberal Round podcast. Have a great day. Until tomorrow. Take care.